What's going on, guys? How we doing? How you all right? You good? Okay. Yeah, the cat's here. You see this tail wag? Cats don't tail wag, do they? It's not really like that. It really wants to just turn this computer on over here. He's being a total jerk, just laying across this huge desk that I have. It's mostly just a huge desk for her, so there's that. Anyways, what we're doing today is a part 2 video. So we're going to check it out. So far, definitely not as interesting as the other sections. But I mean, you know, maybe things will start spicing up in part 2. We'll find out. Let's do this. Bam.
Be able to go over cable ramp with your caster.
I can go over cable ramps with my casters.
Okay, so
what I do I want to choose to go over another cable ramp every day, putting more stress on those casters when I have a free open path over?
Don't have a free open path. They're still hanging motors. You could be building right now. That's all I'm saying.
These guys are fighting.
That's what I'm trying to get you to get it up quicker.
I don't need to go any quicker at this point. I mean,
okay.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You don't tell me how to do my job.
What he's doing now is checking the points to make sure they're in the right position for the bar, so that when they clamp them together, there's
ladies
no
in
side
Ottawa.
tension. So we can line the pixels of the screen up. He's bothering the riggers is what he's doing. What are you guys doing? I see how the big picture comes together now. First, we raise the things up, and then we pull the chain, and then the chain lifts the heavy thing for us. Gotcha. Easier. Do you think it's easier? It's easier. We agree that the motors are easier, so we're waiting for the motors.
right now we're basically getting the motors up and prepped for building the screens. On the bottom of each motor, we put a 10-foot piece of steel. That way the motor's up above the sight lines and people can't see them. And, you know, then we bring in the screens, we'll attach them, and we'll start erecting. Once we get going, everybody has their own little gig. It goes really quick. Also tape the cables to the steel rope so that it comes down the steel rope and you don't have it sticking in the sight lines and unsightly mess. And our wonderful stagehand friends get to do it for us. They are local stagehands from the Ottawa area. They do this every day, helping us. Or others like us.
While Bill and his crew continue to assemble the delicate video screen modules fondly referred to as Tetris, not far from the screens, tucked away under the arena's seating area, Bob is now setting up what is essentially a mini TV studio control room.
Under the seating area.
We're having TV in the Zamboni room today.
Got you. Wow.
So we won't have to worry about being warm.
Where they put the studio, where we have to hang the screens, how far the studio is from my points on stage that I have to connect to. So those are the logistical or the physical production challenges that we have that change from venue to venue. And then beyond that, some venues take longer to get the rigging points in, which, you know, backs up a whole timing kind of thing.
So long as we're within 300 meters of the cameras, we're good. So some days we're way out there. But most of the time we try to find a nice little quiet bomb or back spot.
This one right here, this has got to lift up 3 feet before it moves in any direction. I got to run the cables from here all the way to the back where we saw the Zamboni machine, which is what we're talking about, logistics of cable running. And once I get to the stage there, I have to take into account where all the audio cables are, and I try and lay my cables down last because I usually come up first. So if I put them down right away, sometimes you get buried. You know, you can try and think about those kind of things.
Great, coming up. And our empty tray guy will be able to take his tray away. We give everybody a job, that way everybody feels needed. Okay guys, let's go ahead and bring that next one up underneath, please. Good. Come on down.
How many dishes?
4 and 4, please. It's like playing Tetris. You know, you got to put the blocks on top of the blocks, right? And because of certain ways that one screen doesn't fill a full box, we have to shuffle them around. It's like playing Tetris. Except we always win.
These are the data wires that gives the data to all these screens that connect to the video signals that we send to them, so that way we can make a big TV for everybody. My job is, we just got done putting the screen together, so my job is to actually do the cabling and connect them, the columns together to create one big screen. Once we get that one big screen together, we've got the data screens and we've got the data cables and the power lines to do to give it power and to give it data, so that way we can put the image to the screens. The screens, this is 10 millimeter LED screens, but as far as the size, we've got a 4x3 on the sides, two 4x3s on the sides, and then one 16x9 in the middle.
We've got two that are 11 by 14, I think, and one that's 20 by 11. At certain times during the show, it will make up one big TV, but they don't move together or anything like that. The actual image is adjusted, so it takes into consideration the gaps between the screens, so it looks like one perfect image.
Another one of the live show's key visual elements that must be coordinated with the video playback are the lasers. With the video screens now assembled, it's laser technician Andrew Seebeck's turn to set up his system and aim the beams.
Wouldn't that have to do with lights? There's a separate laser person? Shouldn't he be in the lights section?
It was kind of a hobby I started doing 15 years ago, and started doing it full time. Cool. It was just something I started doing years ago, and I really enjoy it. I love it. It's a business you gotta love to do. Because if you don't love it, you're in the wrong business. It's a lot of work. Pretty much every day, we gotta clean it up, tweak it up. Sometimes tune the lasers every day, clean the optics. Every day. The pyro contaminates everything. The fog juice contaminates everything. So you gotta keep everything clean, because if it's not, it will burn the optics. There's one laser in each unit. It's one on stage left and stage right. Then what happens here from the computer, we control these little actuator arms that basically go into the beam, and we'll give you that. Basically, we have a beam splitter here. We split the beam 50-50, and this beam, the front beam, goes straight out into the house, and this beam goes up to the grid, to a mirror on the grid, which then in turn comes back down to the stage and goes out into the house. And we have other effects in here. This is like a diffraction grading effect, and this basically does a multi-line effect that comes out. It's like a fan effect. I run all the effects live from the computer over there, and I basically do all the cues live during the show. And it's all pre-programmed. We did in rehearsals, and basically I just trigger all the buttons for the cues during the show. these guys will run about 60 watts. I think we'd run them between like 40 and 60. You know, when you're indoors, you don't really need to do 60 watts. You know, it's too much light. Yep, it'll burn you.
Yeah, they're lasers.
New piece of black gaff tape. And right now the laser is just on idle. It's not up to full show power.
Jesus.
We basically do everything that it's basically a 3-meter separation from the highest point that the audience can access. So basically, you know, wherever we go, either we'll be on a balcony, on a ledge of a balcony, basically a 2.5-meter lateral separation and a 3-meter vertical separation from the crowd. And basically everything's masked on the projector, so if anything should fail, that it can't go to a straight, you know, a straight spot. There's no margin of error. It's got to be perfect or it doesn't work.
The Snakes and Arrows move-in here in Ottawa is on time and progressing smoothly. However, things are about to heat up.
All right, here we go. Stand by for pyro test. Fire on the hole.
All right. So this isn't all just video.
The temporary stage at the Scotiabank Arena is still littered with road cases. However, the tour's 3 massive video screens are now hanging high above the stage. But the daunting task of getting them level with each other falls to LED technician Bill Quinn.
I'm doing what we call trimming the screen, where you set the height and make sure they're level and that there's no stair step between all the pixels that throw the image off, which is the hardest part of my day. It takes me longer because the motors, there's so many motors close together, they tend to lift each other up. So if one lifts the other, it angles the one next to it so it doesn't align correctly with the one next to that. So it takes us a while to get through and finally get it all trimmed out. This is a disto laser level. It tells us exactly how high off of the floor I am. Basically, we set it at a 5-foot deck because our average stage is 5 feet off the ground. And so it takes a measurement from there up. And so I set it basically at 10 feet here. It's actually at 15. And so first thing we do is get it level, and then we try and work the middle to where they're level with the outer sides. And it takes us a few times until it's all settled into its happy home.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. See, this was more interesting than part 1 because they brought in lasers. I thought they were going to bring in pyro, but that didn't happen. They went from pyro to trimming. It's like, wait a minute, what happened to pyro? Pyro is in part 3? Maybe it's in part 3. Yeah, the lasers part, that was cool. Just fire, 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 fire. Just burning things. Yeah, because they're lasers, right? Lasers, that's what they do. Yeah, the cat's interested in lasers. Definitely interested in lasers. I've got my own laser. Oh yeah. Super interested. Can I get this on there? I thought I did. Yeah, super interested. I don't know if you can see that. See? Super interested in lasers. So the cat knows about lasers. And I think lasers are cool. The video stuff is alright. It's definitely less interesting. Definitely less interesting. I feel like this part is a stretch. They're really stretching for content at this point. So, but we're gonna continue on. Part 3 coming up next. Catch you then.